Okay, let's take a moment to look at subtracting fractions. And so to start with, really, subtracting fractions are no different than adding fractions. And so, for example, if I had 7/8 take away 2/3, then what I would do is look for a common denominator. I know I have 8, 16, 24. Oh, 24 is a multiple of 3. And so I would actually change this 7/8 is the same as 21/24, and 2/3. Well, 3 times 8 is 24, so 2 times 8 is 16, is the same as 16/24. So I would do 21/24 minus 16/24, and I would get 5/24 as my answer. Okay, and so that's not so complicated. Now, here's what we need to be able to do sometimes, though, when we have subtraction problems. Sometimes we'll get a problem where we have a mixed number minus a fraction. Okay, and we're going to actually look, this is actually using some of our trading skills like we do in subtraction, but it's a little different with fractions. And I have a little different way of doing it than even my teachers did in school that I think will be really helpful to you. And so here we go. I'm going to give us the number 1.5 minus 3/4. Okay, 1.5 minus 3/4. Now, first thing we should notice is we need a common denominator to subtract. Just like on addition, we need that common denominator. And I know that 1.5 is really 1 2/4 minus 3/4. But here's the problem we run into is we notice that you can't take 3/4 from 2/4. That would be a negative number, and we're not dealing with negative numbers here. And so we've got a couple of options. The way I actually do this is I think the easiest way to do this is not to take the 3/4 from the 2/4, but to take it from the 1. Sometimes I even draw a number bond and I flip the order of the fraction. And I say, look, I'm going to take the 3/4 from the 1. And then I'll just take that and add it to the 2/4. So 1 minus 3/4 is, well, that is 1/4, right? If you have a whole and you take 3/4 of it, then you've got a fourth left. So I've got 1/4 after I take away the 3/4, and I already had 2/4, so the answer should be 3/4. And the best advice I can give you for these subtraction ones, if they bother you sometimes, is until you get the hang of it, it's always okay to check them by addition, right? We can check subtraction by adding. So we have 3/4 plus 3/4, which is 6/4. 6/4 is the same thing as 1 2/4. And 1 2/4, when you simplify it, is 1.5, and so we know it's right. Okay, let me give you one more to try on your own, because I think this kind of thing needs practice. But it's really important because when we get to mixed numbers coming up very soon, you'll already have the hang for how to do some of these skills that other people may find more difficult. So let me give you a problem. 1 1/8 minus 1/4. Why don't you pause the video, try that one on your own, and then you can press again and see how I did it. Okay, I hope you've taken the time to do that on your own. Here's what I decided to do. I decided to make these into eighths. 1/4 is the same thing as 2/8. And so I said that this problem is 1 1/8 take away 2/8. Okay, and now I can flip it and I can say, well, let's take the 2/8 from the 1, since you can't take it from the 1/8. This is 6/8, and this is another eighth, and so I get 7/8 for my answer. Okay, I could check it. I could say, well, is 7/8 plus 2/8, because 2/8 is 1/4. That gives me 9/8, and that is 1 1/8. And so I know it's right. Now, it's not the only way people do these problems. Some people also do these problems by making the mixed number an improper fraction. It actually involves a couple of extra steps when you do that sometimes, and it's why I don't always like to do that. But you could also say that 1 1/8 is 9/8 take away 2/8. and you would also get 7/8. If you're really quick at turning mixed numbers and improper fractions, that's not a bad way to do it. But I really like the way I did it, where I take the 2/8 from the 1/2, because it uses some of our intuition about our subtracting from a whole, which is really important skill, and it kind of leads us into some of our mixed number skills that are coming up.